Have you seen the YouTubers and influencers talking about buying a car in their business name and then simply writing it off? Now, I know it sounds a little too good to be true, but there is a section of the tax code known as Section 179, where if you buy larger equipment, yes, you can write that off in the year when you buy it, and it includes certain vehicles. So today I'm going to share with you the pros and the cons of buying a vehicle in your business's name. And you might be surprised at what I personally think you should do, because at the start I had a different idea and now I think something completely different. So stick around, you're not going to want to miss this. So you heard right. This channel is all about teaching you the money lessons you never learned in school. And buying a vehicle is hard enough if it's a personal vehicle. But if it's going to be a vehicle for your business, meaning registered, insured in your business name, then there are a few things to consider and some tricks and tips along the way. So before we dive too far into it, please drop a like for this video. And I did open access to our private Discord server. Feel free to check it out. All right, the way my brain works, if you're going to buy a car for your business, then you probably already have a business. We're talking a legitimate business, like one with articles of organization, you have an EIN number. This could be a partnership, an LLC, but it's a real business. Now, to my folks with side hustles out there, independent contractors, in a lot of ways this video is not going to apply to you just yet, but if you are interested in forming your own business, I have a wait list for my LLC educational program. This is an educational program teaching you step by step how to organize your business so you can take advantage of things like buying a vehicle in the business name, writing off certain business expenses. So I'll leave a link down below in the description. Sign up for that. Moving on, now that we got that out of the way, I realized in doing my own research, a lot of these other YouTubers tell you to start a business, like to do what I just said, you know, get your business going. And you're not going to be able to purchase a business vehicle or a vehicle in your business's name unless you truly have a business. So for me, step number one is to choose the proper vehicle. For example, I mentioned that there is a certain section of the tax code known as Section 179 that allows you to write off certain types of equipment for your business. Now, we're talking about heavy pickup trucks, vans, especially vehicles that weigh more than 6,000 pounds, box trucks with no passenger seat, and even those singular use style vehicles, you know, something like, picture like a hearse or an ambulance. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to focus on vehicles that weigh over 6,000 pounds, because that way you could take advantage of this section of the tax code and purchase the vehicle in your business's name and then write off the expense using depreciation and bonus depreciation all in the first year, the same year when you purchase the vehicle. Now let's get into some of the vehicles that this could potentially work for. I mentioned that weight limit, and you have to look for something called the gross vehicle weight rating, also known as GVWR. That's right. There's an official weight to all vehicles. Usually you can just look it up by make, model, and VIN number. Also, a lot of times it's on the inside sticker, like on the either driver or passenger side door. But here's just a partial list of some of like the SUVs and trucks that could qualify. A BMW X6, a Cadillac Escalade, a Ford F-150 and larger, even a minivan like a Honda Odyssey, Land Rovers, Range Rovers, even the classic Mercedes G-Wagons and certain Tesla models. That's right, when you purchase these vehicles in your business's name, you can write off the depreciation of the vehicle, essentially the cost that you paid for it. And one really cool stipulation is that it has to be a new vehicle to you, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a new vehicle. So potentially you could buy something that costs anywhere from, like, let's say 20 to 25,000. Maybe it's like one of these vehicles that's used. Of course, you could buy one that's brand new, 50, 100,000. Essentially, the sky's the limit. It just depends on what type of business you actually have. And that brings me to a really good point. And no way is this investment advice, but if you're buying a vehicle for your business, then don't plan on using it for personal use. That's not to say that you can't have a vehicle vehicle that you use for business and personal use. But for the sake of this video, we're talking about buying a vehicle for your business. If you think you're going to be some sort of plumber who bought a $100,000 G-Wagon and is showing up to, unplug clogged drains and lay new pipe, the IRS is going to be onto that. However, that's not to say that if you're some sort of catering business and you buy a truck or a minivan to transport your goods and actually, service your clients, that is going to be something that you need to worry about. I just want there to be a clear distinction in your mind that you're buying this vehicle for your business. Which now brings us to one of the most challenging topics for small business owners when it comes to buying new equipment like this. It's going to be financing. If you want to lease a vehicle, that's going to be different than if you want to buy a vehicle. And if you have a certain amount of money that you want to put down, you're still going to need some sort of business financing for the rest of the vehicle. Which means if your business is less than 2 years old, you almost are certainly going to need to offer some sort of personal guarantee. You might have to sign on as a co-applicant, aka like a co-owner. And if anything happens to the business, you're still responsible for making the payments. Now, I know that's not what a lot of people like to hear, but until you establish a business, let's say for 5-10 years, and you have these other lines of credit, we're talking credit cards, the ones that you hear about for supplies, goods, services, then you are not going to have a thick enough credit file to actually just have this car, this new vehicle, solely in your business's name. You're going to have to provide a personal guarantee. However, let's make one thing clear. You absolutely want to be paying for this vehicle through your business's financial management systems. We're talking a business checking account, if you're going to put some money on a business credit card, if you are going to do any sort of financing, you want to make sure it's your business's name, your EIN number that is on those financial documents. Because if the IRS ever comes poking around, they're going to ask, who's paying for this vehicle? And you want to be able to show through statements that you are making regular payments or you have financed the vehicle in your business's name. And let's take that one step further. I do videos all the time on the best business credit cards. I want to recommend getting a business credit card and think of it like your business car, gas, maintenance and repair card. Everything goes on that card, and then you pay that card off with your business checking account. That keeps the personal separate from the business in a way where you can prove, if anybody ever asks for proof, how this is solely a business vehicle. Which leads me to the actual purchase. After you have talked to the dealership or you've secured financing, you're going to want to absolutely register the vehicle in your business's name. Now, it's a good idea to check with your state's DMV because there might be a few other rules that apply. But one of them I want to bring up here in New York State is that you actually need to obtain insurance for the vehicle. And unfortunately, this is going to be a deal breaker for many people. Unfortunately, the insurance policy has to be a commercial vehicle policy. Now, if you already have an agent, you can call them up right now. Hey, listen, agent, broker, I need you to shop around, get me some quotes for a commercial vehicle policy. But you might find that it's either double, triple, or 4 times as much, depending on your credit, your driving record, and what type of vehicle you're trying to insure. So picture this. We're going to buy a minivan right here, and I can insure it for something like $150 a month. And over here, I'm buying that same minivan in my business's name, but I'm going to have to pay, let's just say, $200 more per month, which is going to add up to thousands of dollars more per year simply because it is a business vehicle rather than a personal one. So a few key takeaways, maybe I've already shown my hand. If you are thinking of just getting a business vehicle simply for the tax write-off, it's probably not a good idea. That's not to say that you can't buy equipment that you need, but if you are truly buying a vehicle simply as a tax write-off, you better be prepared for that write-off to outweigh all of the expenses you're going to pay. Simply put, we're talking about financing the vehicle. We're talking about higher commercial auto insurance for the vehicle, and the headaches of keeping track of all the different things like mileage and money put towards there. Now, that's not to say that if you need a business van or truck that you shouldn't go out and get one. Just be prepared to pay the price for this quote unquote like loophole in the tax code known as Section 179. Me personally, I'm going to think long and hard about actually pulling the trigger, because in this household we have 3 vehicles already, and the insurance on all 3, comp, collision, everything, is under $2,000 for the year. I've already started to look at some of these vehicles, whether it be a truck, like maybe something a little more luxurious, or even like a minivan style, and we're talking at least $25,000 all the way up to $3,000 for insuring something that I could probably get at least half the price. But leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about purchasing a vehicle in the business's name. I hope I shed some light on the truth behind this, because there are a lot of people out there, influencers, saying, hey, yeah, just do this, and the logistics of financing it, registering it, and insuring it may not even make it worthwhile. Also, if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. All right, as always, I'm Rich, and until next time.